Good afternoon, John.
Good afternoon, Councillors. Yeah, I'm sure you've all read the agenda item. Basically, New Zealand Forest Managers have been our forestry management company since December 2004. They did a good job for the first 5 years and were reappointed in 2005 for another 5-year extension, which ran from 1 July 2005 through to 30th of June 2015. 2010. Normally we would go out to tender and look for, basically put the contract out for tender, and they would rebid in order to reapply to win the tender, and we would go through our normal full procurement process. But as noted in the item, we're currently in the middle of 3 quite significant projects within our forestry investment, and as you will have seen, one is the young Pinus radiata crop out at Rangataki, which was planted in 2005, currently in the middle of a pruning regime, and for the next 2 years there's a second waste thin work which needs to go on, which is part of normal crop maintenance. Secondly, the Rangataki Douglas fir, which was harvested in 2013, we're bound to replant that forested area under the terms of the forestry lease at Rangataki. So that work's set to commence very soon. And last but not least is the Turahonga forest block up in the Turahonga forest. NZ Forest Managers have put in significant time over the last 2 years sort of scoping out the whole forest block. It's broken down into 4 quite difficult, quite challenging separate blocks that are different age and different maturities. And access is proving quite challenging, and so there's been quite a lot of negotiation with the local landowners and adjacent farmers and that kind of thing to sort of obtain access across their land and come up with the best possible harvesting plan, which is still ongoing. So the idea behind the item is that if we were to go out for tender and we were to appoint another forest manager, all that work would sort of come to a bit of a halt, and there'd be potentially significant disruption to those projects. So, yeah, so basically what we looked at was the idea that we could look at extending the existing contract for a further 2 years, hopefully to complete 2 out of 3 of those projects, which is the pruning and the replanting, and hopefully also we'll be a lot further down the track in terms of knowing where we are with the Turahonga harvest. So,
Thanks, John.
Thank you very much. So any questions are welcome.
Cool. Any questions of John?
Just very quickly, John, is the 2 years enough to fulfil the contract?
Well, if it's not, I guess we'll review it at that point, and if a further 12-month extension is appropriate at that time, that would be...
Well, I'd move the resolution then, Mr Chairman.
Thank you. Thanks, Councillor Bundy. Councillor Jollins.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a quick question from me. In terms of our procurement policy, this extension is not as per our usual practice, correct? Does it raise any legal issues for us? That's what I'm asking.
Through the Chair, no, and we've been very conservative on this. If you look at page 12 bar 2, you'll see the management and maintenance fees only total 122,000 over the 2 years, which actually sits within the CEO's delegated authority. What we do in practice is that forest managers arrange all the subcontractors for the pruning and replanting, etc. So we actually pay them, and then they pay the people who do the work. So to be open and transparent, we've brought this to council because the total cost, in theory, being paid to forest managers is 700,000 over the 2 years. So yes, it fits within our procurement policy, but we've actually taken that extra conservative step to make sure that it comes through council to be seen to be kosher, even though the contract with forest managers is only for 122,000 for the management and maintenance.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Krasowski.
Thank you. So for clarity then, the recommended resolution should be for what amount?
702 or 707,000 is the amount over the 2 years.
That's what Alan said. You see, because
Yep.
you're saying that the contract for the management is for only 100 and...
Yeah, using forest managers' subcontractors to do a lot of the work. So they will invoice us for 707,000, but they will be on charging the work done by subcontractors.
So yes, through the chair. So what we're doing is being very careful, make sure all our backs are covered, and should you like a figure of 707,000 put in the resolution, we're happy to do so.
I would prefer that, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions of John? A suggested resolution there. Extends the contract, New Zealand Forest Managers existing contract for a further 2 years. They have
For 707,000.
That's an additional cost
Oh,
of
yeah.
707,000.
707, got that, Shane? Yep. John, sorry?
I'm right upset now, Your Worship.
John moved it, Your Worship.
Oh, you moved it? Yep.
And I'll second it.
Thank you very much, councillors.
I know half the time you can't see, Your Worship, but don't worry about it.
Moved by Councillor Boddy, seconded by Councillor Hickling. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Carried.
Sorry,
Right, how are we going?
Could I have one question?
Yeah.
Just an aside.
Sorry, yep.
Just while you're there, in regards to the Tirohanga forest, once that's cleared, will it be replanted?
Yes.
At this stage, we are still working on the access. When we get the access issue resolved, we will then decide what is the best future direction. And it might be that it's more beneficial to us to sell the whole forest, land and trees.
But there would be implications under the emissions trading scheme if we were not to replant there.
Item number 13. Thanks, John. Thank you very much. Good to see you. New Zealand Local Government Funding Agency amendments and deeds and agreements to comply with the Financial Markets Conduct Act 2013.
In the interest of time, I won't go through this page by page, especially the
Attachment.
Why there are 30 pages of downloaded stuff off the internet? What are you talking about?
Oh, that thing.
I just don't get it. Why can't you just put a link in there? I'm talking about these ones in here.
No.
You mean actually have them or...
Oh, sorry.
So that you got this, Zane, you got this, you got the separate... Oh,
So I'll take it as read. It's really a process because we either agree to the amendments or we don't. And if we don't agree, then we can't use the local government funding agency as a funding machine for council.
okay. Thanks, Alan. Councillor Krasowski?
Can I just ask a couple of questions for clarification, please? On page 2 of the actual document, the fourth, or the last paragraph under section, 3, where they talk about going up from 500,000 to 750,000, but yet in practice it's up to $1 million. I don't quite understand the rationale behind it. If in practice the loans are $1 million, why would you only bring it up to 750,000?
Sorry, I can't answer that one.
The no crown guarantee, was there a crown guarantee previously?
Yes,
There was.
it was.
So do we know why the crown guarantee has been
Well, there's a guarantee by each of the shareholders.
by the shareholders?
Yeah.
Okay. And just lastly, on page 73, you've got Bank New Zealand Limited and then Bank of New Zealand. Is that a mistake, or are these two separate banks that I'm not aware of? And the reference banks.
The reference bank's got ANZ Bank New Zealand Limited, so that is the ANZ Bank.
Yeah.
because it used to be ANZ National, and they rebranded it, the ANZ Bank New Zealand Limited.
I understand, okay.
And then there's a bank in New Zealand, it's a separate bank.
Other than that, it was a most pleasant and novel to read.
Any spelling mistakes?
Through the Chair, I had a couple of questions. Thank you for Mr. Menhenant. On the front page of the item, it mentions that there are several changes being made to deeds and agreements to reflect what's happening in current practice. What activities or current practices have we got that are out of line at the moment that we need to do this for?
Nothing that, as a user of the facility, that what it is the actual operation of the LGFA had to be refined, and that is so it meets the Securities Act requirement as a wholesale lender. So any procedural changes actually were within the LGFA, and I think there was some reference to that in here. Yeah.
Just one other question then, thank you, Alan. Who drafted these resolutions? Because they're very specifically linked back to elected officials knowingly understanding what it is that they're doing, basically, and have the interests of the community. Who drafted these resolutions? They're quite detailed.
Simpson Grierson, and that's why we have included in these attachments comments from Simpson Grierson, and they, in conjunction with the LGFA, came up with the amendments, and that's tabled this way so it's standard for every shareholder council. So we're all passing exactly the same resolutions.
Yeah, because I guess the question is, when you're dealing in the wholesale market, you are actually classified or as a knowledgeable buyer, which means that there are less disclosures needed to be made. So is this sort of positioning us as elected officials to be those knowledgeable buyers? I'm just seeking some clarification.
The LGFA, in conjunction with the Debt Management Office of Central Government, go to the wholesale market worldwide and raise the funds. We then get offered, if we request a particular dollar value loan, a rate which is so many basis points above the cash rate, or sorry, the bond rate. So we're not involved in the actual funding of the LGFA.
And so as a council, do we deal in the wholesale market or the retail market?
We deal in the...
Aside from this.
Okay. We can go out and raise our own debentures in the New Zealand marketplace, which is wholesale. We don't go offshore. We only stay within New Zealand. So yes, we are dealing in the wholesale market. We're not dealing in the retail market.
And I guess we would temper that with our provisions in our TMP and our risk.
Correct. And we normally use a bank or something of this nature as our intermediary.
All right, thank you.
Could I just follow on from Councillor Cousins? I'm wondering, Mr Chairman, if you can tell me what Section 78 of the Local Government Act actually says.
I can quote that for you through the chair if you like.
I have it in front of me at the moment.
Oh, you printed it out, so I had to read it.
The reason I raise it, Mr Chairman, is if we look at the resolution, Part 4, it states, determines that in accordance with its discretion under Section 79 of the LGA, the Council will not undertake specific consultation or other engagement on this matter, but this then concerns me, but will rely on elected members' general knowledge and understanding of the community's views and preferences to satisfy said Section 78. So I want to move an amendment that in Section 4, from the word but, so it reads other engagement on this matter, from the word but to the end of LGA 02 be removed. So that section will read, determines that in accordance with its directions under Section 79 blah blah will not undertake specific consultation or engagement on this matter, and that this is consistent with the Council's significant and engagement policy. I'm not prepared to risk myself and my fellow councillors being held to account because we're asked to rely on our general knowledge on this matter. So I'd formally move that amendment.
Thank you, Councillor Boddy. Any commentary on that? I don't have an issue with that myself, but
It's your choice.
our choice. Any other councillors? Councillor Christowski?
For clarification, Councillor Boddy, the way I interpret that is that we're expected to know what the community's views and preferences are, not necessarily that we understand the knowledge and understanding of the what's it within.
Correct, we're supposed to understand the knowledge, if I read it again, knowledge and understanding of the community's views and preference. That's the wording that worries me, because I sometimes struggle with 78, read 79 as well, and it will also go to 14. So I'd rather that was out of that resolution, and then we at some later stage would not be liable if we've just gone through this morning with that drama over what we can and can't say, and I'm begging if I'm going to get in trouble on this one.
Councillor Hickling?
Your Worship, I understand that Simpson Grayson's put these resolutions together. Are we getting, they're our consultants on legal issues?
Well, through the chair, if we make resolutions contrary to Simpson Grayson recommendations, then I always get very nervous. So my thoughts on that is that you have the ability to pass whatever resolutions you wish, but we may end up having to bring an item back to you at a future meeting to re-clarify why Simpson Grayson have recommended the wording the way they have. So that's the risk you run, is that you may have to redo an item or redebate this item down the track, but I certainly haven't got an answer for you now. I could get Rob Goldsbury to provide advice, but I think it's probably unfair on Rob to come in and think on the fly like that as well.
No.
Remembering, Your Worship, that Section 78 says a local authority is not required by the section alone to undertake any consultation process or procedure, and yet it's saying that elected members' general knowledge of, and I find that rather, I get nervous on words like that. Whether it's come from Simpson Grayson or someone else, that doesn't matter.
Well, Your Worship, it does matter to me because it looks as though you and I have got to sign this agreement, and I want to make sure whatever I'm going to sign is correct. And I would prefer to take Simpson Grayson's recommendation than Councillor Boddy's.
Thank you for that vote of confidence. I am not knocking Simpson Grayson. What I'm saying is Simpson Grayson words worry me. Hence my asking for that amendment.
I guess you apply the common sense rule here. If you can understand the resolution, that's fine. If you find it confusing, you should ask for some more advice or clarification.
What's the implications of parking this one at the moment?
It needs to be signed off by the 1st of June.
Okay. All right. So what do the councillors feel they should go with this Simpson Grayson?
Could they possibly ask? They possibly ask that we do get Rob to have a look at it for us and bring it back later in the meeting, and we'll take some deliberation time over it. And
Okay, we'll defer that. Item number 14. China visit 2000.